My name's Matt Latter. I'm one of the solution architects for Telent in the UK. Telent themselves are a UK service provider and HPE Platinum partner. So if we look at the different types of data a company holds, they have the primary data, which is your structured data, your databases. And those traditionally sit in people's data centers. And as Telent and as a HP Platinum partner, we can help support those with solutions and services. The secondary data that we're seeing more and more of nowadays is data that is collected at the edge. That tends to be unstructured data. And where Telent are helping companies is to actually gather that data and then turn that data into real business value and monetize the value of that data, convert that into tertiary data. The tertiary data is the data that is collected that can then be sold on to partner companies. A good example of where you can turn secondary data into tertiary data is utility companies. So with the smart meters, that gathers what we would call secondary data, and then doing some analytics on that, turning it into tertiary data. That's the data that could then be sold, for example, to white goods companies that could then go and target those customers with new white goods that are more energy efficient, for example. So what we're also finding is with that explosion of secondary data, that unstructured data, Telent provide a service to our customers that can analyze that data and categorize that data into redundant, obsolete, and trivial data. What we typically find is that up to 40% of data that we survey falls into redundant, obsolete, or trivial. And redundant data is just duplicate copies. And everybody keeps data just because they have to, because they might need it one day. So everybody tends to have a sort of fear of deletion, so they don't delete data, they'll just retain it. The obsolete data is old, stale data that maybe hasn't been accessed for 5, 10 years. And if you've only got a policy to retain data for, let's say, 5 years, why would you keep data past that time? Let's categorize it, archive it or delete it, and reclaim that space from your primary storage. And finally, trivial data is, for example, Bob's holiday snaps. You don't need to keep that on expensive primary storage. So let's categorize it, archive it, and move that off. And as we see more and more companies now embracing cloud-based storage and the move to things like Office 365 and OneDrive, being able to categorize your data and remove that redundant, obsolete, and trivial data is key. Otherwise, you're only migrating data up to the cloud, and as you're paying for it on a consumption basis, you wouldn't want to pay for storage to retain data that has no business value to your business.